What is the role of BIOS in an operating system boot? Have you ever wondered what happens when you press the power button on your computer? The magic begins with the basic input-output system, commonly known as BIOS. This essential software acts as a bridge between your computer's hardware and the operating system. When you turn on your computer, the first thing that happens is the central processing unit, often referred to as the CPU, executes the BIOS firmware stored on a chip on the motherboard. This is the very first code that runs, setting the stage for everything that follows. One of the primary tasks of the BIOS during this boot process is to identify and configure the hardware components. This includes checking the CPU, memory, storage devices, and peripherals to ensure they are present and functioning correctly. This initial hardware check is known as the power on self-test. If everything checks out, the BIOS moves on to the next step. Once the power on self-test is complete, the BIOS locates the bootloader program. This program is typically found on a designated boot device, often the hard drive. The BIOS reads the master boot record or a similar boot sector from the storage drive and loads the bootloader into system memory. The bootloader then takes over, loading the operating system kernel into memory and starting the operating system. This handoff is crucial because it allows the operating system to take control of the computer and manage its resources. In addition to these functions, the BIOS also provides a basic set of low-level routines. These routines allow the operating system and its bootloader to communicate with hardware before the operating system drivers are loaded. This is important for ensuring that the operating system can interact with the hardware effectively. Another interesting aspect of the BIOS is its setup interface. This interface allows users to configure system settings such as boot, device priority, and security options. These settings can influence how the operating system boots and how it interacts with the hardware. From a broader perspective, the BIOS is the first step in preparing the hardware environment for any operating system to load and run. Different operating systems, whether it is Windows, Linux, or macOS, relying on the BIOS to perform this initial hardware check and bootstrapping. Modern systems may use an updated version called Unified Extensible Firmware Interface, which extends the capabilities of the BIOS with more features and a graphical interface. Regardless of the operating system, the BIOS ensures that the system hardware is ready and provides the mechanism to start the operating system loading process. So, the next time you power on your computer, remember that the basic input-output system is hard at work, making sure everything is in place for your operating system to take over and get you started on your tasks.